everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I am your host, the One Take Man. As I've mentioned in my last video, over over the course of this month, I will be doing a series of videos where I talk about how I'd create a potential future Star Trek series if I were given free reign over the Star Trek IP. My last video was all about establishing the setting where this kind of series would take place. This time, in this video, I want to talk about the main crew, i.e. the people who will be carrying out this, who'll be carrying this series, who will be exploring this new galaxy and you know, doing whatever it is they are ordered to do. Before I get into thanks. Go by. An ambulance. Before I get into the actual meat of the video, there are 3 caveats I want to mention so you understand where I'm coming from with with this story. Caveat number 1: I want the crew of this the crew we focus on in this series, and the senior staff in particular, to consist much more of aliens than of humans, because it is somewhat absurd that pretty much every ship that we encounter over the course of the series is crewed mostly by humans, as in 80 to 90% by humans. And it's also ridiculous that humans really get control over the Federation of flagship as often as they do, given there are 150 member countries within the Federation, member worlds within the Federation, as well as thousands of allies. It was ridiculous in the TNG era, and it will be especially ridiculous within my new setting, where the Federation has also expanded. So, therefore, you need to get more. You need to get more aliens in there. Number 2, have the senior staff sit out certain tasks, or have them delegate certain tasks to some side characters, to other officers within their crew. Star Trek is pretty infamous for having the main characters do everything, and this is one particular criticism of the plot mechanics of the franchise in general that I mostly agree with. It does make it easier for casual viewers to just tune into the show. However, it is a bit absurd to have people with around a decade of experience basically doing grunt work. That is not how you develop your talent pool, and that is not an effective use of your crew. If the Federation doesn't know that, Starfleet definitely knows that, and they would at least create certain policies that will allow for more rotation or more task distribution among the crew. It will also help flesh out world building and storytelling opportunities. So, win-win. And finally, the third point is that I want this crew to have a higher turnover rate. That will mean that the senior staff of the first episode will not be identical to the senior staff of the last episode. That very much mirrors the way typical militaries operate. Unless you're very freaking good at one particular position or very freaking bad at everything else, you will get moved around. So that the Federation, whatever military institution you're a part of, can utilize your skills most effectively. That also means that I won't be able to go into every crew change I'd want to make for the sake of brevity, but I will be able to tell at least how I want the senior staff to start. Because no, I'm not going through the whole crew. That would be absurd. So I'll just focus on the senior staff, starting with the captain. Because even though Star Trek is mainly an ensemble piece, the captain is still very much the linchpin and main character. For the captain, I want the captain to be human, male, and from Earth. So yeah, I'm sorry for being basic, but this is what I want to do with the captain. More precisely, I want him to be from Eastern Europe. Partly because provincialism, I freely admit that. Partly because Eastern Europe right now occupies a very interesting position in the collective unconsciousness of TV watchers everywhere. And utilizing that interesting position in the context of the new astropolitics present within Star Trek would make for a more interesting viewing experience, I think, and would allow for more storytelling opportunities. His character would basically be that of an AGSJW, as in he realizes there are certain things that had to, go in his favor, and he had needed a lot of lucky breaks to be able to become the captain of the UFP's flagship. Maybe even carry some kind of Federation equivalent of white guilt, and he compensates for that by basically trying to uplift and challenge his crew so that they can rise to become their best possible selves. Simultaneously, he will have no problem subtly mocking everyone who thinks has their head up their own ass, and will have no problem telling people how petty or whatever they are, in spite of whatever grand titles they loft upon themselves. He's basically a mixture of Picard and Sisko, and he will be one of three senior staff members that I want to stay within their assigned roles throughout the entire series. The other two are Learn, a Xindi reptilian who will basically fill out the same slot Worf did in TNG, in that he will be the tactical officer, and he will be the window into a culture that up until now in the franchise history has been seen as the enemy. And the other character who I want to stay throughout the entire series is Srill, Andorian and Chief Medical Officer. She will stand out by not being as hot-blooded as Andorians are typically portrayed as being, but she will still be strong-willed. And I want to use her to display the difference between projecting strength and embodying strength, for the most part. Other characters who will play against their species archetype will be Keptan, Klingon and Chief Engineer, and a pretty damn good one given their assignment. Miklas, Betazoid and Diplomatic Officer, who in the case of an incursion can step up as acting head of security, or maybe is also a permanent head of security, who knows. And then last but not least, Salem, the Nobulan and First Officer, who will stand out by preferring solitude to fraternizing, and unlike the majority of her species, seeks out monogamous relationships. So yeah, sorry in advance to everyone who's looking for poly representation in Star Trek, you're not going to get it from her. But you will get it from other characters. You have my word on that. She and the captain will have a somewhat inverted dynamic compared to Picard and Riker, in that the captain will be the adventurous go-getter, and Salem will be the voice of reason and stability. Over the course of the series, Salem, Miklas, and Keptan will get assigned to other ships, and I want their places to be filled up with other officers who have already been established over the course of the series, up-and-comers who we've seen develop up until that point, both as officers and as people. The most plausible replacement for Salem, I will say, is Sirius. a Vulcan who starts out the series as the operations/science officer, i.e. the third in command. For the pilot, I was thinking that they should be a Tellarite, for two reasons. One, the Tellarites are one of the four founding races of the Federation. However, they rarely get mentioned or even seen throughout any of the series, especially when compared to Vulcans and even Andorians. Two, while they haven't been seen too much, it has been established that they are very argumentative, and therefore having someone the captain can regularly argue with, and without any kind of hard feelings developing, is is something that I think would add a bit more levity to this series, which otherwise follows a pretty grounded setting, or at least as grounded as Star Trek can be. And yeah, that's how I want the crew to start. To what extent, how they will develop, I might just talk about that in my next video, where I will be discussing the various season plots I have in mind for this for this future Star Trek series. For now, however, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, regardless of how much of your attention you've actually granted me. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. Maybe share it wherever you think others will also enjoy it. If you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when the next video comes up, then please subscribe. Ideally, also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.